Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining. Today's webinar will be encompassing understanding economizer codes and their rebates. My name is Vanessa Castro, and I'll be the presenter for today. Before we get started, I'd like to start with this little quote. Laws are like sausages. The less you know about how they're made, the more respect you have for them. So I will be using that as a theory behind most of this presentation, really focusing on the different items that will be correlating between the different codes and rebates throughout the years for ASHRAE, IECC, as well as California Title 24. So the evolution of net zero code changes with respect to economizers go all the way back to 2004 with ASHRAE, and more currently with 2012 IECC. ASHRAE 90.1 in 2004 started with the definition of an air economizer, a duct and damper arrangement and automatic control system that together allow for a cooling system to supply outdoor air to reduce or eliminate the need for mechanical cooling during mild or cold weather. And what does that mean to these codes? In this particular section, a direct excerpt from the code, what we have here are that we really focused on the alterations to existing cooling systems, making sure that it did not decrease the capacity of the economizer system. Minimum system size for which an economizer is required has evolved throughout the different years. In 2004, the climate zones 2A, 1A, 1B, 3A, and 4A did not require any economizers. And what we'll notice in the additional few slides forward is that this change is the same. Air economizers, design capacity, high limit shutoff. All air economizers shall be capable of automatically reducing outdoor air intake to design minimum outdoor air quantity when the outdoor air intake will no longer reduce cooling energy uses. 90.1 2004 also included the high limit shutoff temperatures for airside economizers. This is relevant to how economizers will operate and at what temperature they will be switching over. IECC 2006 leveraged a lot of the information from the previous ASHRAE codes into their standards. The International Energy Conservation Codes usually do things like this. They leverage the previous year for ASHRAE and incorporate them into something a little more modern. ASHRAE 90.1 in 2007 has some of the most relevant codes that are still used by many states today. The demand control ventilation was the first time this was integrated. It's a ventilation system capability that provides for automatic reduction of outdoor air intake below the design rates of when the actual occupancy of spaces served by the system is less than the design occupancy. What this entails is CO2. As it's shown in section 6.4.3. Demand control ventilation is required for spaces larger than 500 square feet. More importantly, with the design occupancy for ventilation of greater than 40 people per 1,000 square feet. Economizer requirements per 90.1 2007 leverage those of 2004, with sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 not requiring any economizers. But sections 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the dry climates do require economizers. IECC 2009 moved some of the climate zones that did not require economizers to the sections that did require economizers for units greater than 54,000 BTUs. And they also incorporated demand control ventilation into their codes and standards that really leveraged what is existent in ASHRAE standards. Switching gears a little bit to the standards for design of high-performance green buildings, or the Green Buildings Bible, as some people refer to it, in 2009. What they've done is they dropped the requirement 4 when an economizer is required to 33,000 BTUs. And they also included a note that said, rooftop units with a capacity of less than 60,000 BTUs shall have 2 stages of capacity control. First stage for cooling with the economizer, and the second stage to add mechanical cooling. In 2009, what they also required were different climate zones to only use certain control types. Climate zones 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A only required differential enthalpy. However, the other climate zones, you had an option between differential enthalpy or differential dry bulb. They additionally were heavy in referencing ASHRAE standard 90.1 for domain control ventilation. ASHRAE standard 90.1 2010 also started using and differentiating when economizers were required for comfort cooling, as well as when economizers were required for computer rooms. As you can see, the differences in comfort cooling BTU tonnage, as well as the differences for economizers for computer rooms. If we use the same map that I referenced earlier, what it shows is now only region 1A did not require economizers. This is the most current of ASHRAE standards and the one that the majority of the states use currently. The other climate zones and the other dry types will require economizers greater than 54,000 BTUs or 4.5 tons. ASHRAE 90.1 in 2010 also had the high limit shutoff control types for airside economizers based on different climate zones. More importantly, they added fixed dry bulb, the climate zones 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. The required high limit cutoff temperatures that currently exist in ASHRAE 90.1 2010 are 70 degrees and 75 degrees based on the region. This is the summary of the changes that we spoke about today, from 90.1 2007 all the way up to the IECC code of 2012, the different changes that occurred from one stage to the other stage. Once again, this webinar is being recorded and these slides will be available for review. Switching gears a little bit to California and their Title 24 requirements. California is a bit unique as they have actually changed their climate zones to have 16 different climate zones. All their units require economizers greater than 54,000 BTUs, as well as they have 4 different high limit changeover temperatures for their climate zones. They require very detailed fault detection and diagnostics, which go above and beyond what's required in ASHRAE, and also requires all economizers to have that 5-year warranty. Acceptance testing goes above and beyond by ensuring that everything is set up properly and appropriately before people get off the roof. So with that, if there are any questions, please feel free to type in the questions in the chat box, or you can contact us at email via marketing@us.belimo.com, or you can visit www.zipeconomizer.com. So we can open up for any questions that we may have.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. If anybody has any questions, please utilize the chat box. Looks like we have a question that was sent in via a private message. So this participant is asking, do you see the next round of ASHRAE code changes leaning towards California Title 24 requirements?
Thanks, Michaela. That's actually a really good question. Based on my opinion, again, not knowing anything with what ASHRAE is doing internally, what we have seen is a continual growth or change to leveraging what has been done in previous years and expanding upon it. I think California has seen great success thus far with their new code implementations, which was done effective July 1st. And I can see a few of those requirements and changes being taken into account for the next round of ASHRAE changes, especially those pertinent to damper leakage and Economizer high limit requirements. So that was a great question.
Again, if you have any further questions, please utilize the chat box, or you can email us at marketing@us.belimo.com. Okay, we have one more question. Is the ZIP California Title 24 compliant for fault detection diagnostics?
The ZIP is actually California Title 24 compliant when it comes to fault detection diagnostics. We submitted what seems about a 30-page documentation detailing all of our testing attempts and all of our testing protocols for the ZIP in line with what they are requiring for the manufacturers. If anyone needs the written detail for that certification as well as for the number, please feel free to email us at marketing@us.belimo.com, and we'd be more than happy to send over the product update. It's also located on our homepage.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you to Vanessa Castro for leading this webinar. Again, if you have any further questions, please feel free to email us, and don't forget to visit us at www.belimo.us or www.zipeconomizer.com. Thank you, and have a great day.